Hey everybody, welcome to yet another edition of 3 Live Canes. As you can see, Steve-O comfortably in front of his green screen. Looking a little weird, that green screen this week, though.
Let me step away so I don't hear nobody's conversations live. But what's going on, y'all boys? Practice ended a little later than I thought it would, so I'm still here.
That's how you know Steve-O's legit. Steve, are we out there running around a little bit?
A little bit, a little something. We look good.
All right,
Do
Steve.
you get to hold the tackling dummies?
Nah.
You just corrected footwork. That's all, Steve-O.
Nagy.
All right, Steve-O. But everything look good today?
Yeah, we look great. Everybody looked great. It was just an awesome day at practice. Good vibes. I'm literally walking out the facility now as we speak. And I seen a lot of, SFE representation over here. So that was nice. Seen some of my Raw brothers too. It was just a nice little event that Canes had together. Obviously, no recruits. It's the dead period, but
right.
A lot of prominent alumni. Ran into my boy John Beeson and Brian Monroe. Shout out to Brian Monroe, one of the coolest dudes out here. My boy Odell, y'all know. So it was smooth. Everybody was doing their job, doing good. Anthony Campbell looked huge. A lot of these guys look huge. I mean, saw Cam Ward, took a picture with him, talked to him a little bit. I would probably run through a wall for him. He speaks the language, but super smart. Obviously, things happen in practice. I'm not going to say nothing, but It was good. Everybody looked good. Everybody that you're hyped about for the season looks the part. I mean, I like the way Kiko looked in number 1. I mean, I thought it was nice. I mean, I was like, damn, when I seen him come out the IPF, I was like, damn, Kiko. Some of these guys look good.
Anybody stand out that you weren't expecting, like whether physically, like a guy, maybe a new guy that you showed up and you haven't seen him in person, you're like, oh, damn, this guy, he looks like he looks the part?
I can't even name one guy because everybody looked different. Everybody looked crazy.
All right, very good. How'd the receivers look, Steve-O?
Oh, sharp. Very sharp day. Not going bananas, but it was sharp.
Were they getting icky out there?
You can say that.
Moderate ickiness.
Not as icky as people said Saturday.
Yeah, it did seem like Saturday was a little bit more juice to it. But I mean, that's scrimmage, big time stuff. But before I let you go, Steve-O, I know you got to drive and everything. We don't want to have it dangerous. I know Flo can do the driving while doing the TV show, but he's a trained professional. It's his whole deal. But anything about the scrimmage you want to throw in there? Anything you heard from the scrimmage?
Nah, Nagy.
That means it was fantastic all around. That's all we're talking about. But all right, Steve-O, we'll let you go. You enjoy the rest of your evening there. Go.
Oh, that's Coach Mirabal.
You can go say hi real
On the show?
Nah, I'm gonna let him be.
Very casual, Steve-O. Very casual.
Yeah, I'm very casual. I'm always incognito. If a coach say what's up to me, then I'm gonna say what's up to him. But usually there's only a couple coaches I know. I was rolling with Cole today, so Cole is like the definition of VIP.
Oh yeah.
Kane Van, y'all know Cole, yeah. Cole had the red carpet, man. Telling you, boy, he laid out the red carpet. I was in VIP today. Usually I try to be incognito. Man, Cole, we was out there today.
Sounds good. All right, Bill's gonna fly down next week, so maybe he can get Bill in too.
Maybe a press pass or VIP pass.
Bill. They don't think Bill's an intern. Look at him. He could be a defensive intern, right?
Yeah, I mean, you got the hat backwards. There's it's a difference because now, you guys know my boy Frank Tucker just got hired here now as a recruiting coach from the Crib South Florida. It's so surreal seeing him out there coaching. Like, oh my God, bro! It was a crazy moment. Crazy moment.
That's awesome. Steve, there was one thing I wanted to ask you. I don't know if you got a chance to see it today, but did you see the clip of the Rams-Cowboys practice where the Cowboy player pushed over one of the Rams interns?
He pushed over who?
Yeah, at the end of it was like a regular quarterback rush drill, and at the end of the drill, one of the defensive linemen for the Cowboys just pushed over one of the Rams interns who was just holding the ball and pretending to be quarterback. and the Rams didn't do anything about it. Like no Ram ran up and like started a fight. Does that bother you that no Ram started a fight?
I mean, as long as Cam wasn't the quarterback that got pushed, I really don't care.
It was just some random dude.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. There was a I don't know if he was just in the jersey or whatever, but he was doing like the inside runs and like it was going, like doing pass protection drills. 81 at quarterback, he was manipulating and moving that pocket. I was looking at Cam like, ooh, I don't know who 81 is, but okay, he was moving that pocket.
You know you're legit if you're at 81 playing quarterback.
Yeah.
All right, Steve-O.
That's it for me, guys. I finally made it to my car. And I'll catch you guys next week. And good moves, good vibes. Roster, everybody looks good. Everything you're hearing and reading about from D-Money and CanesInSight is true. I ran into D-Money tonight. Always a pleasure. So, yep, everything he's saying is pretty much true because I saw it for myself.
Look at that. What a great day for Steve. I got to see practice. Run into the boss. Get VIP treatment. Sounded pretty good, Steve-O.
Well, they had nuggets and stuff. I was like, oh, man.
It's like a king there, Steve-O.
Yeah, they had wings, like fruit, like if you wanted to be healthy, like,
They put the fruit next to the wings.
Nah. I ain't gonna lie, I caught dude coming through the door with the wings, so I had a plate ready. So I don't know where they landed at, but I caught him coming through the door.
Just with a tray, just scooped them right out of the tray.
I already had a plate. I had chocolate chip cookies on it and some watermelon.
Look at that, Steve-O. Very good, my friend. Very good. Thank you for hopping on for a second with us, Steve-O. We appreciate you, man. We'll see you next week, all right?
Yes, sir. I mean,
See Steve-O.
it's such a long drive, but if by any chance, if you guys are still on in 40 minutes, by the time I get back up to Broward, I'll jump in.
Steve-O feels like we won't, but
All righty, guys.
All right, man. See you next week. There you have it. There you have it. Steve-O live from the IPF. You might say to yourself, you know what, this guy Chris seems like just some random idiot with Miami jerseys, and you're right. And you might say, look at this Bill, this slob over here. Just looks like someone that likes to coach virtual players in video games, and you'd be right. But Steve-O's legit. Steve-O's legit. He knows what he's talking about. He's got a chance to go down there and see the practices for himself. Got to be there in the IPF. He sent us pictures right before he hopped on to the StreamYard, and he says a pic of him at the thing. And then Bill said, oh, look, Steve-O must have been at the IPF before. And then sure enough, pops in StreamYard, still there. So, but yeah, good to go. Like, very cool to see. We'll keep referencing back so you guys can go back and see it. And Jay, I didn't put that up because I don't want to bother him. I don't want him to be upset. But it's pretty cool to see. Anyway, but we left the old CanesInSight background up. Okay. Yeah, leave it up there. Leave it for funsies. Why not?
Why not?
Although I do have to change it now. I have to change it to get our sweet intro. How about the old intro still here? I wonder if it is. Oh, it's still there. Want to run the old intro for old time's sake?
Absolutely.
What the hell? Hey, 3 Live Canes on CanesInSight.
Aikman to throw again, and Jerome Brown's after him, and he's got it. Walsh again is well taken care of. Lofting the ball. Irvin is open. Touchdown, Miami.
Canes will try to strike deep as they go down the middle, and it is touchdown. Andre Johnson was all by himself.
Brooks going up for Thorpe, and it's intercepted near midfield. Sean Taylor's got another one. Who else?
Oh, good. Going back to that one.
Little nostalgia there.
Yeah. Very nice. Very nice. I remember making that thing, trying to figure out how to get the pictures to look in the helmet. It took like 3.5 hours. But, hey, it worked. And I left like 4 seconds on the end of it, so I had to click off, or else it's just black screen. Nothing going on. But anyway, welcome to the show, guys. You know the deal. 3 Live Canes here on CanesInSight. Another week to talk to you guys about Miami Hurricanes football. As always, I am Chris. My name is somewhere. Oh, no names in the boxing. Whatever. We'll figure it out. Hold on, let me see if I get it.
I feel like at this point, I think everyone understands what's going on here.
Chris, Bill. Here to talk to you guys about Miami football. Steve-O was down there for a minute, but he went. It was at the IPF, like we were saying. You saw him before, watching practice. And as these days go by, 17 days away from real live Miami Hurricanes football against people wearing different colors, it's getting more and more significant the closer and closer we get. I think it's more and more realistic for us. Big scrimmage on Saturday. Not a lot of information about it has come out. Things are kind of being more under wraps now. It's really more, during the summer, during the spring, it's just like a lot of like generalities, things getting thrown out there. This guy looks like this guy, best shape of his life, all that stuff, blah, blah, blah. But now it's real deal football season that's about to start up. So you're not hearing as much, but Bill, right now, just litmus test, 17 days away. Like, how you feeling right now for where we stand?
I feel like this, right around this time is when you start to, maybe either go one of two ways. You either start to get super nervous or you start to get, overconfident. But I've done my best this year to kind of just stay as even keel as I can. I've been hurt too much in the past. But I am optimistic about this year. And I do think this will be a turning point, right, for our program. I think the days of going, 7-5, even 8-4, are going to be in the rearview mirror. Then that's thanks to Mario and his talent acquisition, roster building approach. I think maybe there's some, I don't want to say unrealistic, but I think it was a much tougher rebuild than maybe a lot of us thought, because we always assume that we have talent, and I think we were severely lacking it, in a lot of key spots, across the board. So I think I don't think the roster is there in terms of like national championships yet. But I do think this is, at some point, maybe in the next 5-10 years, we'll look back at the 2024 season and say, okay, that's when, things, took that next step and we went in that positive direction.
I think so too. And speaking of like great seasons, CF Kane fan, this question for us. I will get to your question. I have it starred. I will get back to it. I'll rattle off. We did a top 15 actually a couple years back, like 4 years back now. So I'm gonna hit you with that in a minute. I actually just retweeted it on our Twitter account at Canes Legacy. If you want to go back and look with some videos and stuff too. But I will get to your question, CF Canes fan. Don't worry. But you said that the bit about a tougher rebuild than maybe people anticipated, I think, is an important point to make. Because Miami and the USCs of the world and the LSUs of the world and the Texases of the world. And, there's an automatic assumption with a lot of these schools because they're in talent hotbeds. They have tradition, they have pedigree, they have coaches that want to go coach there. They have alums, they have money that can fly from the NFL ranks and all this. There's an assumption, I think, that it's easy. You have the opportunity to just go get talent, put them on the field and win games. I don't think people generally realize or care to think about just how difficult it actually is to pull up those things like your blue chip number. Oh, it doesn't matter. I mean, we know it matters, right? To reestablish like connections and relationships in a community that in a lot of ways felt pushed aside by previous coaching staffs and forgotten about by previous coaching staffs. You don't just send an email and say, hey, I'm the new head coach at the local college. Like, make sure you send your players to me. Like, it doesn't work like that. There's a lot of stuff that had to be rebuilt that was broken over many, many years. I mean, we're talking two decades of breaking down relationships. And a lot of people will say, no, we've had bits and pieces. Yeah, bits and pieces don't equate to national championships or even being close to it. What's up, Dr. O? I see you. It's more about slow burn opportunities to create something that you really wanted to create. And honestly, a big part of that was Mario having that pre-established trust from a lot of people, even if fans at times lacked the faith that we maybe should have had. But it certainly feels like we are in a position now where we have talent, we have coaches, we have stability, both on offense and defense for the first time in a generation. Right. So like now it feels a little bit different, which is why I understand, like, now we can look at a season and not say, hey, I'm going to blindly predict a number, which, we're going to do maybe next week, but I'm going to go predict based upon this should be good. We should be better because of all these things that we just talked about.
And think about kind of the three kind of most recent dynasties in college football, right? So right, Alabama started late 2000s, early 2010s, right? But it took Saban a couple years to get that going. Dabo was how Clemson for a long time, right, before he broke through and won a national championship. And then even Kirby Smart, he had some success early, right? But to break through and win that national championship was year 4 or 5, I think. So it to build a consistent winner takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. You can have kind of flash in the pan seasons, and there's plenty of examples of that. But if you want to be, let's say, we'll call perennial playoff team, perennial ACC championship contender, winning it more often than not, this is what you have to do. You have to recruit at a high level every single year, and you have to supplement that right in the portal with key guys, at the right moment, and then everything else comes into play. That's the first step. Then the development, the schemes, coaching, game day, all that other stuff has to come, and those questions still have to be answered for Miami. But I think we have that first key down pat for now.
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, the first key of many as they slowly find their way into it. And CF Kane Finch made a good comment here. So for the first time in forever, the team has an identity. Yes, like that goes along with consistency, right? If you have an offensive coordinator that came in here instilling his setup, like his mentality, and the whole team, not only do we bring in talent that fits with that scheming, we also have a commitment from the head coach and the locale of where you're playing college ball. That's attack, utilize speed, and be aggressive. That's Miami. That's South Florida. That's the way we have traditionally had a lot of success, right? So a great opportunity for Miami to do some good stuff here and to keep pushing that thing forward. Defense, same thing. Be aggressive, be fast, take advantage of your athletes. All good things that we're hoping to continue to build on.
And that's the stability, right? Having, Dawson back, Guidry back, most of the assistants, it is big, and that helps to establish that identity. Going from Gaddis to Dawson was a pretty significant scheme change. We had who's the defensive coordinator that he first hired? I was about to say Charlie Strong, but he was a linebacker coach. The guy from Auburn, the older guy, Kevin Steele. Talking myself through that one, and then going Kevin Steele, super experienced. You had some great moments to Lance Guidry, who is kind of a new age defensive coordinator. That gives you that identity as well. So I think the season's going to be exciting. That first game is super important. It doesn't get much bigger than that. Especially one, Florida, two, we haven't performed in those types of games in a long time. So that's, we got a little bit of history against us, but, at some point you have to kind of break it. And, if any team is going to do it, it's going to be this one.
Right.
This isn't the, talent devoid teams of, even what was that, 2018 or 19 against Florida, and then LSU, Bama, those teams just weren't, very good.
Right.
So this team is.
Yeah, we've talked about, I remember a couple weeks ago, there was a whole thing about Cam Ward's been bad on the road, which we looked at the numbers. Really wasn't bad on the road. I mean, you bad even against an Oregon team, he was pretty good, and you lose that game. Yeah. I mean, it's Oregon, right? But Washington played them close, played them tough, things like that popped up. But, I mean, you compare even – let's just say he is not the best on the road quarterback, blah, blah, blah. We're talking about Cam Ward, a nationally known talent, a guy that a lot of teams wanted, a guy that could have went to the NFL, maybe mid-round pick, fine, whatever, but a guy that could have been right now wearing an NFL jersey very happily, knowing he has a job, making millions of dollars. He decided to come play for Miami. It's a big jump from Tyler Van Dyke, who was a guy that was good young quarterback, but unproven. Even a De'Aaron King, who was a good player, but I don't think anyone was looking at them like, oh my God, this guy is an absolute superstar at the position. Like a lot of people think Cam Ward might be. You could go back to even a guy like Kaya, who people had their doubts about because he wasn't very mobile and blah, blah, blah. But we're talking about a guy in the position that a lot of people nationally are as confident in as any quarterback we've had in 20 years. Even if we've maybe built guys up, nationally, I think there's no doubt in the quarterback play for Miami. right?
And he was, put into position at Washington State. Poor offensive line. I think they had some decent weapons, but nothing like he has here. And he doesn't have to do it all here. And I think there's something to be said for that. We went out, got, Damian Martinez, pairing him with Fletcher, AJ Allen. We're going to have, a very good running game. The question mark around that is the explosiveness, right? We were, good, per average, right, last year, but there really wasn't big plays, right? I think of, Brashard Smith, had that big run against Clemson, fumbled. Jacoby George with the hustle play got the touchdown for us. But I mean, other than that, it's, we need more, explosiveness out of the run game. But, Cam Ward isn't going to have to throw for 500 yards and 4 touchdowns just to give us a chance to win. So I think he can play a little bit, looser, so to say, and maybe with a little less pressure than we would anticipate.
For sure. And Jay Vickers, he makes a comment. 100%, Jay, 100%. We have to wait and see. All that, we agree, right? But sitting here 17 days away from the season, compare your confidence level 2 years prior, right? And then ask yourself, if I was more confident, like Bill was saying, heading into Alabama, heading to play Alabama up in Orlando, or going into the LSU game, or going into the previous Florida game. If you were confident then, what was it based upon? Was it based upon blind, just, oh, yeah, whatever? If we're not confident now, what is that based upon? Is that based upon the fact that you don't trust guys on the team? Or is it just because we've been burned before? You know what I mean? So you have to compare yourself right now, what you're feeling, what you're thinking to years past. And then in that evaluation process, just ask yourself, like, is it because I've been burned, or do I not trust the guys on the field? Because if you look up and down that roster, you look at the guys who are going to be wearing orange and green, it's better. It's better. Jay says, I've been confident since 2005. I'm surprised you were confident in 2005. Like, we knew that. We knew that the ship had sailed at that point. So, but that's fair. At least I'll take that.
I mean, being a Miami fan has been tough for a long time. I am probably one of the most negative people out there. And there are question marks, right? I think kind of, August, we always talk about the positives. Guys are in camp. They look better. They look jacked. They put on weight. They're flying around, making plays. There are question marks, right, about this team, certain positions, certain, aspects of, coaching and, discipline play, things like that. Those things we really, haven't talked about because usually the off season's so positive, right? But, going back and, thinking about, last season, right, we think about TBD and the turnovers and, how bad that was. And it was bad, but there was, other things going on too that contributed to, having a not so great season. And, those things can't be answered until kickoff, until games are played. So
I got to see. That's the thing. Like, when we see that, I have a pretty confident feeling that when we see this team out there playing real deal football, it's going to look like it's like we've wanted it to look. CF Kane fans most confident he's been since 2018. Dave, remember Mario is a coach until he knows when to take a knee. Yeah. I had a funny back and forth with a fan on the internet, because I love to argue on the internet. It's one of my favorite things, about what was the worst decision: Mario not kneeling and effectively giving his team a chance to lose a game that you had won, guaranteed to win, right? Or when Brian Harsin with Auburn had basically like a quarterback whose leg was destroyed, hobbling all over the field, and scored a touchdown with like 5 seconds left. And they were down by 1 against Alabama. And he decided to kick the extra point and go into overtime, even though his quarterback was hobbled horribly by an injury. And he said, I don't want to run the ball once for 2 yards and try to beat Bama. I'm going to go into overtime with my injured quarterback. What was a worse decision from a coach? Now, obviously, throwing away a win is not ideal, right? But to me, at least Mario was going at it full attack mode. I'll take a guy going down, guns blazing, versus going down like a coward and afraid to win a game. But
no, not taking any is worse.
yeah, probably.
But
probably.
But arguing with people on the internet, you gotta take a stand and you gotta stick to it no matter what. So I get it.
It's yeah. When you're yes, that's fair. But when you're aggressive and angry, it could bet where bad things can happen. But what are you gonna do? But hopefully we're not in that position again this year. Where then I think if it happens again, then by all means, like this all has to stop. We have to stop the show. I have to get rid of all the stuff I have because you can't do that twice. Even I did it right, but you can't do it twice.
I think that was a once in a lifetime type circumstance where the fumble actually happened, but it wasn't a fumble because he was down, but we got screwed. The refs suck, and then it was and then Corey Couch mistimes jump, and then Cam Kitchens does whatever that was and touchdown. Like that's
pretty wild.
Yeah, a lot has to go wrong.
But anyway, a lot does have to go wrong. But luckily, the other piece we're going to go back to see if Kane fans question before, where a lot of seasons where very little went wrong, and that was about the best teams that we've had, the other top five. So, see if Kane fans had question for the day. It's widely accepted the 2001 team is not only the best college team, but the best Canes team. So, what are the next best 5 Canes teams? So, I want the people out there to think about it, what they would do, who they would evaluate, where they would slot certain teams. A lot of people would probably do the automatic, oh, well, this team won a national title. They're obviously in the top 5. Just slot them in. Personally, I don't know if I would go so clean with it. I'm not a big fan of just like automatic. These guys are there. But obviously, like a good amount of the top teams are going to be those that are way up at the top.
Yeah.
Phil, do you have any ideas? Like before we get in, I show you where I think everybody falls.
I think you could make a case for 86 being the second best team. But when you do have undefeated national champions, it's hard to kind of put that over it. I know there was a close loss in the Fiesta Bowl, I think it was. So I would go, let's see, 01.
Fiesta Bowls haven't been kind.
I'll say 01, 87, 86, 91, 89.
I hear say it again because that was fast and I'm confused. One more time.
01.
All right.
87. 86. Did I have 91 and 89?
91, 89. Got it. All right. That's pretty not super far off from where I was. It's like just, it's going to be up at the top. It's going to be pretty tight on who you think goes where. But I will pop up these things on the Twitter because I can't.
Well, hopefully we could be talking about 24 being in that discussion.
Oh, yeah, plug. Excellent work, Bill. Excellent work. Let me slide this back for a minute. There we go. Technology. I think, like you said, the big question about like if Miami had won a national title in '86, they're 2. Probably, I think a lot of people would want to argue for higher. If they had the opportunity to play for a national title in 2000, I think there would be people arguing that they should be higher. They should be higher. They should be high. And then 2002, which for a while I considered the 2002 team to be better than the 2001 team because there are in a lot of ways they were better. They had, you think about who they lost and then who stepped up into key roles. I think a lot of people would argue like, well, I mean, you had Sean playing super elite. You had older Vilma and older DJ and older Will Fork in a bigger role. And, just K2, like in a prominent role at that point. Andre older, Willis with his season, Kenny older, So a lot of really positive things. Line wasn't as good, but anyway. So
talented teams aren't always the best teams, so it's hard to kind of nitpick and differentiate that.
Which would take 11-1 if your loss was to Duke. We'd be in the AC title game. So 100%.
Absolutely,
100%.
It would suck for a week, but then you win the next week, and that means you beat Florida State. So you take that any day.
Yeah, I happily take it. But anyway, let's rattle these off. So this is my 11 to 15. 15 was 1994. Great defense. Could have been the offense, just didn't know what to do. But if that defense was good enough to be one of the top ones, they could carry them through. 81 with Jim Kelly. The best of Kelly's seasons right there. The 03 team was dangerous for a while, but just had some terrible losses. And then they let bad games stack in a lot of ways the other ones couldn't. But a lot of really good games in there for them. 85 was kind of one of those in between, like straight in between the two titles, where things were starting to click and get in a better way. The 1990 team, which got in their own way more than any other team, I think, in Miami history, but was really, really good. Was really, really good when they got their stuff together. So they deserve a spot up there. Next up, we have the 1992 team, which was very good. And again, another one close to national championship. 1988, another one sitting on the heels right after a national title. Won a lot of games, won 11-1. The 2000 team I have here at 8 with a national championship opportunity. We definitely could be higher. Obviously, they beat a lot of really good teams that year, but you're going against the big boys. First national title team, the 83 team, won a lot of big games. Overall, they did lose a tough game early in the season. They came back and won a lot. 1989, obviously the Catholics First Convicts won in there, but leading up to that. But 1989's team was really good. This is Catholics First Convicts 2, right after the rematch game. So good team, destroyed Notre Dame in this game, really set a tone with great defense. Cortez Kennedy in there on the side dominated this game. 5, I have 02. If they would have won that game, maybe to number 2 overall, number 2 or number 1. Number 4, the 86 team, another conversation like Bill said before, had they won, definitely would be a little bit higher. A lot of old timers would probably argue they should be number 1. 91 teams overall, as close to perfection as you can get offense and defense together. Number 2, 87, again, elite. You still had a lot of those guys that lingered from the 86 team. A lot of Steve Walsh, obviously, leading the way. And number 1, them. So there's my top 15.
So I guess, you didn't have 80. What was that, 89 in your top 5? You had
89 just outside of it,
Yeah, that 02 team. I could see it. I'm not. Yeah, I mean, there's too many, too many good teams.
Yeah, that's the tough part. If you're sitting at 87, the 7th best Miami Hurricanes season is a national championship team or a near national championship team. The 7th best team for whatever random school. Not as many teams. Not a lot of teams have gotten as close to Miami has to winning national championships. We have 5 in the bank, but realistically, within 1 loss from another 5, right? Another 4 or 5.
You got screwed out of it in 2000. You got reffed in 2002. Cleveland Gary fumble was what, 88? 88. So that's 3.
And 86 was just a terrible game from your Heisman Trophy winning quarterback. That it just stopped letting Vinny throw it, and then you win a title. But a lot of weird things that popped up over the course of the time, but it is what it is. But obviously, it's 17 days away from Miami Hurricanes football, so we're still a lot of waiting here to go. Nothing really much going on in the world of recruiting in the dead period. So a lot of that is a waiting game as we try to figure out what's going to go on as we kind of slow our way through this.
So season kicks off college football in 10 days. Do you know who the first game is? I'll
How
give you a hint. The game's not played in America.
is it in Ireland?
Yeah, it's the Florida State, Georgia Tech, and Dublin.
Yeah.
12 o'clock here. I don't know what time that is over there, but
Is it back? It's backwards, right? It's probably like a 7 o'clock or something, 6 o'clock, somewhere in that range.
yeah, I mean, FSU is favored by 11.5 that game.
Hey, you don't just walk into Dublin and knock off Georgia Tech.
Seems high. Seems very high, that line. But, I mean, Florida State was 10 in the AP poll?
Yeah.
That's
there's still a lot of Florida State highly rated comments out there that we'll see. Talk about like proving it on the field. That's what I can't wait to see them try to prove that on the field.
And I get it, right? I guess people are bought into more Norvell with like the portal and all that, but I mean,
they've been doing this for a long time. They've been doing this portal dance for a long time, and it's not like they've been consistently finishing top 10 in the country.
Two good years, I guess, or one above average to good year, and then one, last year was great for them. But this year, I think not having Jordan Travis, what that offense is going to look like, because he was a phenomenal college quarterback. He developed into a phenomenal college quarterback, and he, bailed them out, quite a bit. I think about just even against someone just like the plays he makes. So DJ, you ain't that. So he is not that.
No. And yeah, the ability for Travis to scramble and make plays in situations where there were no plays to make. That Malik Rozier was able to turn what we believed was a career that would have been destined as like a spark plug backup into a really good season of quarterback play. So obviously, he did good by his merits, but Jordan Travis really did something special in his year. And I'll give him all the credit in the world because he's not there anymore, and I can. But while he was there, it's definitely a frustrating player to go against. But we'll see. We will see what happens. Obviously, it's a long time to go before we get to see Florida State, and we have Florida on the schedule first. That's obviously first order of business. We'll be talking about that a lot more as we get along into this thing because 17 days is a lot of time, but also not that much.
Two shows left until season.
Who knows? Maybe we'll even sneak in this all-time Miami Hurricanes draft in there somewhere.
I don't think so.
Probably not.
Probably not. Just about the same chances as Steve-O jumping on later,
or me posting the countdown at some time in the morning. But we'll wrap it up on that, guys. We appreciate you guys tuning in to watch the show here on a Wednesday night with us. We had Steve-O pop in. If you missed Steve-O, just go rewind back to the start of the show from live from a special location on scene, or a reporter out there on the street getting a chance to literally walking along the street back to his car after where he was, but talk a little bit about practice and how what a great vibe he had from everything that was going. But yeah, 2 weeks away, a little over 2 weeks away from real deal football. Very exciting. It's a good time to be a Hurricanes fan. But before we get out of here, Bill, final thoughts for the people.
Yeah. The other day I looked, out on my lawn. There was a couple leaves on the lawn. I took the garbage out at night. There was an ever so slight chill in the air. Fall is coming.
Are you talking about Hassan Reddick? I assume it means Hassan Reddick.
I know there's issues. I don't really know too much what I'm not a Jets fan.
Basically, Hassan Reddick was traded to the Jets. He wanted a new deal. Philly said no. He demanded a trade. He was traded to the Jets. He told the Jets, I want a new deal. We said no. So he was like, okay, well, trade me then. Like, no, we're not trading you now, doofus. You're stuck here. And what's he going to do? Not play? Sit out a year? Still be under contract as a 31-year-old pass rusher? Probably not, dude. You're going to play. Go make that $15 million or $20 million, whatever it is. Stop.
Is he on the tag?
No, he's just the last year of his contract. Just go make that $20 million you're owed that you may never make again and play the year. Stop crying about it.
Especially for a contender too. Not that I want to give the Jets credit, but
nope. There's your final thought for the people.
I mean, somebody has to be the
contenders.
Somebody has to be the 2 seed behind the Jags.
What the draft? Anyway, I'll do it for us. We appreciate you guys tuning in here on a Wednesday night. We will see you guys. Let me switch over. Let me hit you guys with the real one for the walk away. leave you guys without no place like home. We'll see you guys again next week right here on 3 Live Canes. Everybody have a great night.
This is for the national championship for Nebraska. He's a stud, that Brown, number 98.
Urban's got it. Urban's free. Slips to the outside, tries to stiff arm, and he couldn't get by Ray Lewis.
Big time players. Step up in big game.